Welcome to Fourth Dram and Goal. We had a heck of a football weekend. We've got some big headlines in the whiskey world, and we've got 100 proof in the building. So grab a glass, put the game on mute, and take a listen.
Let's do this.
Well, welcome to Fourth Dram and Goal. I'm your host, Kurt, and I've got my co-host, Dick, here.
What's up, Drammers?
We're here to join you like we always do, to talk whiskey, talk sports, come at you wherever you're at, in your man cave, in your little sports den with the game on, and here to just share and talk some knowledge with you guys. We want to talk both things, whiskey and sports. We want to hear back from you. We want to interact, and we want to make this a good old time.
That's right, Kurt. So just to double down on some of the things we're going to be talking about today, we're going to be talking about a little bit of whiskey news. So there's a big acquisition between Luxco and MGP for your whiskey nerds out there. We also have the summation of the NFL Conference Championships leading into that sweet, sweet Super Bowl. But hey, do not forget the kick-ass lineup we have set up for the Pro Bowl selection as well. A couple things I want to remind you on, Drammers, before we get started. We always are available for you 24/7 at our website, fourthdramandgoal.com. That's 4th dram and goal, all spelled out, .com. And we also have the Instagram and Twitter handles, Fourth Dram, with our Facebook, Fourth Dram and Goal. Remember to listen to us on your favorite podcast, likely what you're doing right now. But hey, if you got the rank and review or the rate and review option there, don't be afraid to give us a review. We love 5 stars. We take any feedback you have. Feedback is a gift. We live and die by that. So please make sure to do so. And if you want to get a little bit crazy with the email, don't be afraid to hit us up at fourthdramandgoal@gmail.com. We're always here for you and ready to go. All right. So, Kurt, before we really dive into it, man, I think this is the first episode we're actually having where you and I are drinking the same thing.
Yeah, it is. We've kind of set ourselves up for quite a while of, a slew of episodes where we'll be drinking the same thing. That'll kind of, I think, help us interact better with you listeners, so you can chime in on one bottle at a time. We did do a blind one time of several of the same bottles, but this is going to be your more traditional style of us tasting the same thing and giving our thoughts on it.
For sure. We had the in-person episodes as well. Those are always a good one if you want to kind of hear Kurt and I go at it head-to-head with as minimal editing as possible. Don't be afraid to listen to those. You might be asking yourself, how did we get such interesting bottles as you go through the next couple episodes? And we're doing a couple blinds here, just some kind of Texas trail tasting. How do we get each other the exact same bottles with the understanding that we live about 3 hours away? I'm going to tell you, it was definitely not due to illegal shipping of alcohols.
Nope, definitely was not due to a order of essential oils that I needed for my skin and constant headaches I have after listening to Dick talk.
I think I switched the box, man. My essential oils hustle on the side. I might have just sent you the wrong thing.
I smell phenomenal.
All right. So, Kurt, why don't you hit them up, man? What do we got? We kind of beat around the bush enough.
All right. Well, this is the bottle that we've said several times, so we figured, what the heck, it's time to rate it, time to drink it live or listen to. We've got Evan Williams Bottled and Bond 100 proof Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. The good stuff.
This is good stuff. I don't care if you're a rich man, a poor man, or not a man at all. This is good whiskey.
I'm going to let you set them up on the details of it, because I think this is your little,
Yeah,
your go-to.
This is my little hidden gem, man. I'm not going to lie. I always have a 1.5. I'm sorry. Is it 1.75 or 1.5? How big is this fucking bottle?
Fucking huge.
Oh, it's 1.75. Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you, man. I always have a 1.75 of this in my bar. I use this for a little house blend mixture between this and OGD 114, which I know you tried and weren't a huge fan of, but to me that's straight up whiskey butter.
I'll give it time.
All right, it grows on you. Old granddad grows on you too. I'm sure we'll be talking about that. But to Kurt's point, we got Evan Williams Bottled and Bond. This is the white label, 100 proof. They recently went through a bottle redesign, so you almost see with like a $100 bill kind of strap on it. It is a definitely a go-to for, I think, $14 to $15 for $7.50. mid-20s for the 1.75. You can't go wrong here. It's an outstanding Heaven Hill product. Because it is bottled and bond, we covered that in our last episode. This is a whiskey that's actually distilled and bottled, distilled at 4 years, bottled at 100 proof in a government warehouse with strict government oversight based off that 1897 Bottled and Bond Act. It is a sour mash bill coming in at 78% corn, 12% malted barley, and 10% rye. Yeah, that math checks out. That's 100%. So it's, like I said, it's an old reliable and old faithful. I don't think we've graded it on the show, but we'll get into it.
Awesome.
Nerd
so yeah,
alert.
we do got a couple things to go over tonight, even though the highlights of basketball, football, college football, everything going on at the same time is kind of getting to a slow point, but we just still got some good stuff. We got the MGP acquisition in the whiskey world. We got our conference championships that wrapped up this weekend. We've got a Pro Bowl coming up. Do we give a shit or not? And then we also have the preview of our Super Bowl. But before we do all that, we've talked a couple times on the show about how big of an influence Kobe Bryant was. And we talked about the moment that it hit us last year. And today is the anniversary of that. So it just would not be, we need to do something on Kobe today. We've got to pay our tribute to the man, the myth, the legend. So I think the only way to do that is for us to give our favorite Kobe Bryant moments and take a pour and a drink to the man. I'll let you have at it first, Dick.
Yeah, so I thought about this quite a bit. We talked about it in a previous episode. We won't dive too far into it about like when we heard the news, and there was so much, crazy stuff going on for it. And all we can really say is to Kurt's point, the impact he made on both of us as young, basketball, football players. It really was one of those things that you really can't replace, right? So it's always the what if factor. What if Kobe would have kept living? What if his daughter would have played as well? I'll tell you, like growing up though, the biggest impact for me, and this is almost like an ode to you / a jab at you, is
of course.
Hey, I am Dick, so I can't get past the Madison Square Garden 61-point miracle like performance of the year in 2009, which really set them on the road. Not that they weren't already going that way, but they really set them down the path of that 2009 championship drive. And I really felt like that was the point where post all the drama, post all the Shaqness, that was when like Kobe was back. And we saw, I think it was 07, 08 scoring titles. But correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was like the definitive moment for like, okay, Kobe's in his third act. Like this is the Kobe we ended up watching, in our later years, high school, early 20s, etc.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't, I've said it already. Kobe was someone that we watched up growing. He was on the TV for our generation more than probably Michael. LeBron's getting there, so it's impossible to name my favorite Kobe moment. It really is. The 81 game, of course, that's there. But the problem with the 81 game is I remember it because I didn't get to see it. The 81 game was 06, so that's could have been at a practice, could have been at something, but that was one of those that I got home, saw ESPN, and did the whole Kobe did what. Dropped 81, and that was at the highlight of like, I don't like Kobe Bryant. He's the villain. He's got the championships. God, this guy's so freaking good. Beats the Knicks, beats the Spurs, beats everybody. He's so awesome. So picking my favorite Kobe moment, I had to go with the one that was fresh on my mind, and that was his last game. I mean, you talk about poetic justice. An ending to ride off into the sunset. Peyton Manning got to ride off after the Super Bowl. That was awesome. But the way Kobe did it in his home, give me the ball, get out of the way, 60 points, comeback win against the Jazz. I remember they played that game, the night after he passed away. And I watched it with as much as excitement as a little kid, because you knew the end was coming. You knew what he was about to do. So, yeah, I would go with that. The way he ended his career, I mean, that was very similar to, Jeter's walk-off win for the Yankees. The legends just do it. They just do it right, and he did. He had it in the most Kobe fashion that you could possibly have done it. So I'll go with the last game as my favorite memory of Kobe.
I think that's a fair pick, man. And I think all we could say is, rest in peace to the Mamba. Mad respect, mad props. I think sometimes you don't realize what a good thing you have until it's gone. So, let us be a list. And cheers to that. Let that be a kind of lesson to us all. But without further ado, we're going to make this not a solemn episode. It definitely is another Kurt and Dick rant. We're going to hit you up with some whiskey news, some whiskey nerd alert.
Yes, and I'm going to be flat out honest. This is your domain. I am not going to have much to chime into. I know I was the one that sent you the article and I saw it, but this is Dick's world. You dick the shit out of this because all I know is the headline that I sent you, MGP merges with Luxco. I'm going to let you break that one apart. I will.
I'm going to have a few questions for you.
Cool. I'll raise my hand when I hear familiar terms like Yellowstone, bourbon, and things like that. But other than that, this one is yours, dude.
All right. I appreciate that, Kurt. So just kind of level set everybody if you haven't been keeping up. And keep in mind, the whiskey world is super deep. And Kurt and I are just getting into really understanding, the ins and outs. And we may say a few things wrong here and there. But ultimately, these are the facts. This is what we know. We should talk about MGP, which is the largest, if not one of the largest, distillers in the country, based out of Indiana. And you see a lot of our craft distilleries getting a lot of their startup whiskey from there. There's exceptions to that, like 291 is an exception. They did all their own stuff. But most of your other whiskey brands that are getting up and getting started and starting to establish something either do a deal with MGP or someone else like Heaven Hill, or possibly even like a Bardstown, although a Bardstown's much more low-key about it. They don't necessarily publish it. And MGP doesn't really publish who they do business with either. That's on the distiller to tell people. But what you need to know is a lot of the good stuff that's not Buffalo Trace, not Bardstown, not Heaven Hill, it's not Brown Forman, is likely coming from MGP. Been kind of demonized in the last few years. Luxco is another brand, which is kind of an up-and-comer. It's the Lux family. They've kind of pulled it together and really taken it into the next step of being a competitor within the industry. The kicker here is they have some really good brands. Right? They do have Everclear. That's right.
Oh,
they've got,
I love them already.
They've got Everclear, which is Rebel Yell. They've now rebranded recently to Rebel. We've got Yellowstone and then Old Ezra. I mean, those are some of the big ones. So Old Ezra 7.
Favorite show on TV.
Right next to the ranch, right?
Speaking of the ranch, what's the Colorado one you just mentioned a little while ago?
291.
Are they drinking that on the show?
I don't know, man.
I think they are. Check it out next time.
Okay, I will. I actually know that a buddy of mine, we were talking about whiskey, and lo and behold, he went and ordered a bottle of 291 that I should be cracking up this Friday. So I'll tell you what I think about it. I think it's their small batch bourbon. So that'll be interesting. Anyway, we're talking about a $500 million acquisition of Luxco by MGP. It's a split cash, $250 million-ish cash and $250 million in stocks, with the Dan Lux getting a one chair seat on the MGP board with the option for the addition of another that's to be named. This is like really a big deal. I mean, the way you think about this, and we'll go through like some almost conspiracy theories, but theories about what this means for not just the company, which I think it's a good deal, but what does it mean for us as consumers? I think that's what we really care about. We've talked about some of these ultra-aged bourbons that are out there. We've talked about some of the stuff that they're starting 3 or 4 years ago that we're starting to get our hands on now and possibly in the future. A lot of that stuff's coming from GP, and I've even heard that they actually had a bad earnings call like late 2019 because they had some older age stuff that they weren't able to bottle and sell out. So they may be looking for an outlet for that. So I know I nerded out there, Kurt. My apologies. Well, not really. I don't really fucking care. But what do you think about this, man? What are your initial thoughts? You sent me the article. What did you think?
That it involved reading, so I didn't do a lot of it. But I don't know. It's like it's one of those things that there's so much going on in the whiskey world and in the background,
and it's so secretive.
Are we going to notice anything from this?
I think you will.
Than, should I buy some stock in MGP right now?
You won't want to buy it right now because they just merged, right? It's been announced. I think what you will notice is the fact that Luxco, when they have sourced their whiskey, it's been from Heaven Hill. So now you've got to assume the fact that MGP owns Luxco brands that they're going to start putting their own juice in Luxco brands. So you should
like
see
Everclear.
Yeah, probably.
Am I still going to have Yellowstone Kentucky bourbon?
You will still have
going to be Yellowstone Indiana bourbon.
Well, that's a great question. It's going to be Yellowstone bourbon. And if it says on the bottle Kentucky straight bourbon, technically speaking, they wouldn't be able to do that.
And isn't it ironic that Yellowstone National Park is in neither of those places?
It does sound ironic, yes.
Anyway, let me nerd out for a little bit. So, I went down a little rabbit hole right now on whiskeywash.com. You said the guy who started 291 used to do what?
He used to be a he used to be a photographer in New York City.
He used to be a photographer who took pictures and became friends with one Sam Elliott.
Really?
Thus...
Oh, it is on...
Sam Elliott is sipping 291 on the ranch. I knew I saw that. That's
awesome. I've watched that entire season, never knew that, never put the two together. That's great.
Yep.
That is great investigative whiskey work right there.
As it turns out, Myers and Elliott remain good buddies, and you can see Elliott sipping 291 on the ranch on Netflix. That's awesome. I'm glad I contributed to that conversation.
I'm glad you did too. I had no idea. Now I'm going to have to rewatch. I mean, how can you not want to rewatch The Ranch? It's fucking amazing.
True that. What else is new in the whiskey world, nerd?
So I really wanted to talk about just a few things here, and I wanted to get your thoughts. Do you have any thoughts about like us as consumers? Like, is this a good thing? Do we think that the long-term strategy for MGP is get as much whiskey out there as possible? Because they have massive distilleries. Massive. I've seen pictures, and it looks like endless.
Or, is it one distillery or is it several?
They've got several, but their distilling houses, if you want to call them that, are apparently like the biggest in the industry. My thought went, dude, what's stopping them from being the Amazon of the whiskey world? You got the biggest supply. You've got high demand for your product because we all like it. What's stopping them from consuming like a Grizzly or something like that to use this distribution technology and distribution chain to get it out there direct to consumers?
I pour a glass and I drink it. I don't know, Dick. I mean, are they on their way to doing that with this purchase?
Amazon started selling secondhand history books to us, and look where they are now.
So if you're telling me I'll be able to buy whiskey on Amazon? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying it's a possibility.
That would be awesome.
I mean,
then you have my attention.
I did literally send you some whiskey. It showed up at your door, and you showed someone an ID, and they gave it to you, right?
That's a new thing, and I want to do that from now on. Thank you, sir.
So I mean, it's an interesting world, man. It's ever evolving. So, but
talk to me about these bigger, thicker bottles.
Yeah, the bigger, thicker bottles. So another little interesting thing I found on Whiskey Advocate was there's now a patent approved for 700 milliliter bottles, which is interesting because what you're drinking out of right now is a 750 milliliter bottle. Mm-hmm. And it makes me start to think, are the 750s going to start going away? I.e., are they going to make the bottles thicker, make them look like 750 milliliters, but only contain 700 milliliters of whiskey? And is this another example of shrinkflation?
What's my favorite quote of all time, Dick?
I don't know.
Come on, think about it.
It's not the size of the boat, it's the motion of the ocean?
That's my second favorite. But when somebody's spewing knowledge at me and giving me facts and figures...
Fuck you.
Close.
I don't fucking care.
Close. You're hot. Very warm there. I don't...
Fucking no.
Give...
Oh, fuck. There you go.
I don't give a shit. Oh, here. That's what I think about 700, 750. Who gives a shit? No, in all honesty, I mean, yes, there's going to be those times when you're going to a party and you're like, oh, I'm going to get more bang for my buck with this 750. But when it comes to like our type of whiskey buying, when it's like we're going to try what's interesting and 700, 750, the size of the bottles isn't going to be what piques our interest. You know what I mean?
Oh, well, the size is always what piques my interest.
I know. But size and peaking. I don't think so. I think the 750 is not going anywhere. It's kind of like when they started making what's that one car?
I mean, I'm a car guy, but I don't know what car you're talking about.
Yeah, where
the Tesla.
They made a version of
hydrogen car, hybrids.
Sure, whatever. It's like when they make a car that they think's going to be cool, so they just continue. Oh, Chrysler 200. There you go.
You mean people the Chrysler 300, or people thought it looked like a Phantom?
300.
As Cat Williams say.
Look like a what?
Cat Williams, dude, in one of his stand-ups, he's like, I bought it because it looked like a Phantom. He's like, nah, it looks like a Chrysler 300.
Anyway, so the Chrysler 300 was popular, so they made the Chrysler 200. Didn't work out. You know what I'm saying. Get the metaphor and move on. All right. Next topic. Thank you very much.
All right, so last one is we're talking about Luxco. We're talking about the changes.
7-minute abs. Six.
Old Ezra is coming out with a new product that's got some hype behind it. It's Ezra Brooks 99. This is a 99 proof high rye, allegedly, that is going to be charcoal filtered, and we should start to see it in our liquor stores this month. It's supposed to be competitively priced. The way I've really understood it, we're talking that $20, $30, $35 bottle. Just something to keep an eye out on. I mean, if you like Old Ezra number 7, which you can't find, might be worth it to try to grab the mid-major right there with Old Ezra 99.
I'll try it. Sure, whatever.
Yeah, why not? It's whiskey. All right. I think that kind of like kills the mood for the entire podcast with whiskey news. I think that's the last time we'll talk about it. Kurt, what do you got, man? What's our next couple of topics here in the headline section?
So, hot off the presses, just a couple hours ago announced, the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame will have no inductions this year. The first time since 1960.
Who was on the list?
I don't know. Apparently Schilling's pissed off. He was the closest. He said, I don't want to be on the list next year because they have 10 years.
And
next year, which is... well, let me get through this. 10 years, and Schilling, Bonds, and Rogers are all on their final chance next year. And I know Schilling basically said, I don't fucking want it. Leave me off the list. But I don't know. Is baseball... Am I just not thinking about... Isn't baseball like... Don't they say like... Lucky Lefty Legoo from 1940 made the Hall of Fame this year? Like, how... I don't understand how this 10-year thing works. Is baseball not one of those Hall of Fames where you get that?
You got me on that, man. You got me that pants down. I don't follow Baseball Hall of Fame.
Good opportunity for anybody listening that knows that answer to shoot us an email at fourthdramandgoal@gmail.com.
Exactly. Great plug.
All right. But yeah, and then it started going off. I forgot kind of the shit that Schilling has put on like social media that's got him in trouble.
Yeah. we talked about like Football Hall of Fame there with Keith, man. Popularity has a lot to do with it. And I think when you look at Schilling's baseball record, to your point, it's a no-brainer. But then you start thinking about some of the questionable stuff he's said and the steroid allegations.
For Bonds and Rogers?
Well, and Schilling too.
And Major League Baseball in general?
Yeah, I mean...
Then put them all in. Who gives a shit? All right, moving on.
They still did amazing things. That's all we got.
That's all I got to say about that. Rodgers and the Packers. So we got a whole NFL segment going on in a little bit, but as you saw, Aaron Rodgers. Well, let's talk about that now. Let's talk it now. Field goal or go for it on fourth? What do you think?
Go for it on fourth, man. You've got Aaron Rodgers. It's 4th and 8. Just fucking go for it. You still need... you're down by 8. You have to go for it. Because you...
I agree. But I also think that it's a no-brainer if Aaron Rodgers runs the play before and gets at least 5, 6, 7 possibly scores.
We've seen him do it multiple times before.
Right, and I'm not Aaron Rodgers, the one running, from 250-pound defensive linemen. Actually, I think that's a small.
They're bigger than that.
Lineman.
That's a middle linebacker.
Sure, but so I want to talk about. Yes, they should have gone for it. And I love the way Stephen A. Smith was just so pissed off, and he kept going Matt LaFleur, which that's insensitive. But anyway,
against French people.
Here's what I want to talk about. It's pissing me off. Here we are on week whatever. Nobody has seen Deshaun Watson. We're still getting the subliminal messages on Twitter. The city of Houston going through its fair share of its own issues over here. It's still waiting on Deshaun Watson. They tried to do a parade that he said, no, don't do that. But, let's see. Packers lost Sunday. The conversation started Monday if he would be back. Well, guess who answered a question today about it today on Tuesday? Mr. Aaron Rodgers, if you were trying to figure that out. Yeah. So Rodgers comes out today on the Pat McAfee show saying, yeah, I'll probably be back. You never know, but I'll probably be back. Why in the world can't Deshaun Watson do something like that? Why do we have to do this guessing waiting game?
Because he doesn't know if he's going to be back, man. They haven't even named the head coach.
Apparently that has nothing to do with it. Apparently he still wants out.
That's him just taking a stance. I think, to your point, I don't know, man. He's hanging out with Carmen Sandiego. I don't know.
That was my joke.
Well, you know what? I made it funnier. We do know that he will be in Vegas next weekend, though, so maybe we'll get an interview with him.
Cool. Can't wait.
So, to answer your question, man, he doesn't want to commit to shit right now. Why would he?
That was my rant. What about the question? Is Rodgers back in Green Bay next year?
I think so. Only because he's not going to be able to go somewhere with more weapons to give him a better chance.
I agree, Dick. All right, let's get into the nose of this Evan Williams bottled and bound. All right, so I've got strawberries, passion fruit. Oh, I'm sorry, that was lubrication still left on my hand. The Evan Williams, my bad.
Is that why you're so relaxed?
No, I'm relaxed because I got a hockey game on TV right now. Got the Detroit Red Wings, a.k.a. best uniform in sports. And I've got the Dallas Stars. It's 1-1 in the third period. Okay, so we've gone over notes on Evan Williams before, and we always come back to that peanuts. I'm not getting it as much on this one. Got a big puff of vanilla. Ooh, nice little maple syrup on that bad boy. Vanilla, maple syrup. I've already told you, when it comes to Evan Williams Bottled and Bond, I get the peanuts in the glass after it's empty and it dries up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know that smell very well.
I'm going to go vanilla, maple syrup. Very traditional, nosing notes that you would get on something like this. Little bit of lemon, maybe? Yeah, but that vanilla and maple syrup is very potent. What about you there, Dick?
The peanuts is always a hard one for me to grab. And I think I may just associate that peanut flavor with...
It's hard for you to grab up peanuts?
Yeah. It's hard for me to smell. So,
it's hard for you to smell peanuts?
And this, yeah. I did get red fruits right there. I get a hint of green apple and a little honey. But other than the vanilla, a little bit of cinnamon, I'm going to call it butterscotch. That's what I wrote down.
Butterscotch, nice.
Yeah. Overall, when we score this out, I don't see anything wrong with this. I feel like it is an A all day, not just for the price, but everything's pleasant. Everything. There's nothing offensive. There's nothing proofy. You're like, oh, but there's nothing negative to say about this. So how can you not give it an A?
I'll go B plus.
Okay. I mean, it's about like me and you in high school. Me always with the A's, you with the B's. It's cool.
D's get degrees, baby. D's get degrees.
That's how I graduated.
Yeah, it's good. There are going to be those when it comes to, my nosing notes. You know me, I'm a Buffalo Trace sucker and things like that.
Yeah, you like them more aggressive.
A little bit. 100 is a very good proof, but my sweet spot's going to be the 110, 115 range.
Yeah.
So I think that, but this is a solid B plus, man.
I like it.
All right, moving on. Let's go to that.
Third drain.
Still got the Mexico protection plastic on my bottle.
What we got lined up. This is going to be a short dram. I think Kurt and I are already kind of getting into it. Maybe more of a lead into our fourth. But ultimately, we want to talk a little bit about the Pro Bowl. So, what's
of things
happening
I don't give
year?
a shit about. I'm sorry, I'm crushing your fun. Continue.
And you call me the fun sucker.
You're right.
All
I'm
right.
a dick.
What's happening this year? What we got going on?
So we got a Madden game, right? In Vegas?
In Vegas. Allegedly with some other activities lined up, although I can't completely nail them down.
In Vegas?
In the 15
I think I've
minutes.
got an idea.
Oh, yeah. I got offered cocaine last time I was in Vegas.
I was not expecting this to go there, but as we're trying to gain listeners, please continue.
We were coming back from a dinner, and it was my wife, myself, and then a couple friend of ours. We were there for my friend's wife's birthday, and the girls are wearing little, scantily, barely covered dresses, and my buddy's in the pisser. And I'm standing out there with the girls. We're just talking, bullshitting right in the lobby. And this guy walks up, and he's like, hey, man. He's like, hey. I'm like, hey, man. He goes, these your girls? And I was like, I mean, yeah, I'm with one of them. And he's like, hey, y'all looking to have fun tonight? And we're like, yeah, we're looking to have fun. He's like, hey, you want some Coke? And I was just like, well, no.
What happens in Vegas? No, not here.
And I was like, I don't think they're down for it. And he's like, oh, cool, man, oh, cool. And like gave me the high five. This was like pre-COVID. This is like December 2019. And I was like, I went back to the girls like, what did he want? I was like, well, he thought you were hot and wanted to give us some Coke. And they're like, oh yeah, we're not looking to have that kind of fun. So
did they take that as the best compliment ever?
I mean, yeah, they're 30-year-old women in short dresses. Of course they did.
Well, the funny thing is, people are like, "Oh, cocaine, Vegas story, rookies." Like,
that's my first. That's my first, man.
I just remember being like 14 in Vegas, and they had you those cards on the side of the street.
I just had this conversation with my wife last night because I went with my dad when I was 12.
And my aunt taking all of them out of my hands and throwing them to the side.
Yeah. You got to put them in your back pocket as soon as possible.
I didn't know what they were. I didn't know what the hell they were.
And they're just handing them to you.
I'm 14 and they're giving me this card. Like, you have to. I'm the same person that if somebody comes up to me at the grocery store and gives me a card, I take it without knowing that they're trying to sell me something. Like, I just, okay, thanks. Like, I assume everything's a flyer out there. And these happen to be flyers. They just happen to be very mature flyers. Anyway, who's playing in this Madden game?
So, Madden game, we got Deshaun Watson, so we know who he'll be. We got Derrick Henry. This is AFC. We got Snoop Dogg and Keyshawn Johnson.
Cool. NFC.
We got Murray. We got Jamal Adams. We got Bubba Wallace and Marshawn Lynch.
Cool. Can't wait to not watch this. There I go, being a fun sucker.
What else are you going to watch this weekend?
Movies. Goodfellas for the 17,000th
Oh my God, they've been running that shit on AMC like crazy lately.
That's one of those, if it's on, I'm watching it. This hockey game, 1-1 still, the Dallas Stars and the Detroit Red Wings. Detroit Red Wings. The Detroit Red Wings. I don't know, man. I don't watch the Pro Bowl when it's a regular game. Like, I don't. Not since I was 10.
So I'll tell you what, like, I will watch the Pro Bowl, but I won't watch the actual game itself. I'll watch the the Saturday competitions on the front end of that. I think they've done a pretty good job the last couple of years actually making that exciting. And the game does get a little exciting because you get the whole, it's not NFC versus AFC anymore. It's kind of like, I think they gave a couple years where, like, you had team captains, they got to pick all their players and shit.
And see, when they do all that, I think that makes it dumber. Just stick to AFC, NFC. I don't know. Fun sucker of the night, I guess.
So let me ask you this. What's better, NBA All-Star Weekend or the Pro Bowl?
NBA All-Star Weekend.
Okay. So NBA All-Star Weekend or MLB All-Star Weekend?
I'll give NBA All-Star Weekend the nod there just because it's the 3-point and the slam dunk. The thing about the slam dunk is they are really trying for some creative ways to keep that thing going because of all the dunks being just done with. Yeah. But the 3-point still consistent. It's like your home run derby. There's one goal to hit as many home runs as you can, and there's a winner. Same thing with the 3-point contest. But just because I feel like it's a little bit longer and there's a little bit more activities. Celebrity basketball game, celebrity softball game. I'm going to take the basketball game because here's the deal. When people don't really want to play basketball, like as in they don't want to get hurt or play defense, the score is going to be 200 to 204, and it's awesome. When people don't want to play football, I mean, it's rough. Like, it's real rough.
It's like watching go routes at practice all day.
I mean, for instance, what's the best highlight you've ever seen in the Pro Bowl?
The uniforms.
That's your highlight?
I mean, yeah.
My highlight's when Sean Taylor knocked the shit out of a punter on a fake because that was like the realest hit in Pro Bowl history.
Because Sean Taylor was playing, the punter was not.
Yes. So, like,
dude, R.I.P. Sean Taylor, man.
R.I.P. Speaking of another one, man. I'll take a drink to that.
Amen.
God, that's good. Ooh.
It's all the good stuff, man. I'm telling you.
Got some big red gum on that one again. What is going on?
I think you just chew a lot of big red gum.
No, I don't. I can't. I get allergic reactions. That's the weird part. But, yeah. So I just don't. I'm not a fan of the Pro Bowl. I don't watch it. Now, what you were talking about events. You see, like, ESPN Classic when they do the QB challenges from the 90s.
Yeah.
See, those were fun. Those were.
They
awesome.
still do those.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I haven't watched it.
That all happens on Saturday.
Okay, well, maybe I'll check that out if I remember it. But
that was my point earlier. Is like, that's what I like to watch about the weekend.
Okay, well, then that's like a 10-minute span. Who gives a shit?
That's like 4 hours of content because we got like the crazy catches. They've got the hitting the football players that go across.
Yeah, they had that dodgeball game last year, didn't they?
They did have a dodgeball, yeah.
Landry did like the most athletic thing I've ever seen in my life when he caught like 3 dodgeballs or something and beat the other team. Okay, maybe you're convincing me a little bit there.
All right, we'll have one more. You already said NBA, so that's what we're going with. NBA All-Star Weekend or, and this is a hard one, dude, the curling tournament at the Winter Olympics.
I will watch USA, the red, white, and blue, and I will kill a 12-pack as I root them on to gold. I will take that up there over a lot of other things. You are insulting it by putting it next to the All-Star Weekend. It is literally Super Bowl curling championship World Series for me, buddy.
You know, I watched that Netflix thing about like the curling. It was a couple years ago about the curling history up in like Canada. And have you ever seen that?
I did not know that was a thing, but I'm going to tonight now.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. I mean, it's a Netflix original. I
watched The Ranch.
Yeah. I think that definitely solidifies curling's place, as we just did, as the best sport to watch. I did want to kind of talk about one other thing we haven't hit on yet. It's kind of not really a headline yet, but it made me think of it. Olympics 2020 that are going to be allegedly in Japan 2021, starting in June, July. I'm hearing a lot of rumors that it may not happen. There was a poll out yesterday or today. 80% of Japanese citizens do not want it to happen. So what do you think, man? Like, do you think they're going to follow through with it? IOC is saying yes right now.
I think, okay, so the bubble worked for the NBA, right? I feel like the Olympic Village is the original OG bubble. Like, I think if anybody can pull it off, it's them. Now, you are dealing with people from all over the world as compared to, like, just the United States for the NBA bubble. But, I mean, get there 14 days ahead, test everybody, quarantine everybody, put everyone in the village, make it lockdown. I don't see how that's... I mean, we're going to pull a Super Bowl off, for God's sakes, this weekend, knock on wood. And then somebody said, maybe can they move it? I don't know what that would... I mean, shit, there's so many deserted Olympic villages, right, that people are always showing. I feel like they could pull that off, man. And then even if it came down to voluntary status of athletes showing up, I still think you'd put together a pretty good Olympic games for the athletes that said, I don't care where it's at, I'm going to compete because I've just busted my ass for 5 years now. I
agree with you, man. I mean, I think it should still happen if they can quarantine, and stuff. But
plus,
I think
you don't get COVID in the pool, right?
No, you don't get COVID, but what you do get in the Olympic Village is what we've heard about for years are STDs.
Sex and drugs?
Yes, there is a huge influx of STDs within high-level Olympic athletes.
That's a whole other type of test.
Right after.
So, I mean, if we can survive that every 4 years, I think we can get through this. But
how do we not have super herpes after the last Olympics? I mean, you got to ask yourself that question.
Who said we didn't?
We're just not...
What? What's up? Anyway, I hope we have it. I love it. Is this a winter or summer? Winter, right?
This is a summer. It's the extension of the 2020.
Well, what the hell happened in the 2018 Winter Olympics that was exciting?
I don't know. The U.S. didn't win the curling championship?
Moving on. I hope they have the Olympics. Can we get into the tasting notes of this Evan Williams?
Let's do it, man.
Dick, lay it on me.
I'm going to say this. From the very beginning, I don't believe that Evan Williams is anything wrong with it. The nose is nice. To your point, I think you get a little bit of different variation from bottle to bottle. What's hitting me tonight, and this is a 175 that's aired out a little bit, so I'll give it a little bit of leeway on it. I get cinnamon, I get sugar, I get vanilla. I do get the butterscotch that carries through from the nose to the palate. The green apple fades, it's not there, but there's no bitterness, there's no bite. It's not heavy oakiness. There's a little wood flavor. I wouldn't say it tastes like my coin box, but it's good. Overall, it's nothing to be mad at, man. It is everything good. You can put it in your eggnog. You can drink it in a dram. You can put it in your Coke. You can put it in your club soda. You can drink it however you want, and it's gonna be good, man.
Yeah, I think what makes it good is you get a little bit of all the traditional flavors.
Right, and none of them are offensive. Nobody's fighting.
No, but this is where your eyebrow's going to raise a little. At the end, it has a little bit of what I was talking about with early times. All the traditional flavors, but then at the end of the taste, you feel that $13. You get that little bit of proof. And I would actually say that Evan Williams Bottled Bond does have that more than early times did, as I've already killed that bottle again.
Early times got so much nanner on it. It's so sweet.
Yeah, but no, this one. I mean, the oak. I get oak. I get the traditional vanilla oak. That maple syrup isn't there as much as it is in the nose. But then as it fades back of the tongue, you get the alcohol proof, not ethanol, proof that goes, okay, this is that. If I were to line this up with others, maybe I'd be able to tell it was a $14 bottle. But like we've talked about before, we've seen videos where this has been toe-to-toe with...
Yep, I was going to go there.
...other bottles, but for the most part, this is usually the bottle that's like first, second, third in your under $30 tastings. And that's where it belongs.
I agree. And I do get that proofy on the back. It's like empty, chalky proofy.
But man,
I do get that.
I texted you today, like, damn, I forgot how good this was. I like that there's you don't get like heat, and it's actually kind of dangerous because I think you can sip on this all day because does it have like a watered down after a while?
It does, but that's the proof. Like, the more you drink it, the less offensive it gets. This is what I would say, man. Like, you talked about it being under $30. I want to talk about one that I've recently drank. I drank Henry McKenna in our last episode. I think if you put this next to Henry McKenna gets that watery taste right up front. It's heavy vanilla, heavy honey. But this, if you put it toe-to-toe in a blind, I'd take this day any day against Henry McKenna. And Henry McKenna is a $60 bottle right now.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm going to have to take your word for it on that one. But yeah, you get the watered-down sipping taste and flavor, but this is going to be like a no-duh. Better than those $90 proof bottles. Very watered down sometimes. So I'm not going to offend it. I'm going to do B plus again.
So I'm going to give it a B on the taste, simply because it doesn't wow, but it's better than most of its competitors, and it's better than what you're going to find in that price segment, hands down. I really liked Early Times. I think this is better than Early Times.
Before we do our OGD tasting, which one you taking?
Between Old Granddad 114 and this?
You want to leave that one?
I know. I had Old Granddad 114, and I actually wrote it down. Like, the two are on pages right next to me. They both landed with B pluses. But I would say, based off of memory, the thing about the Old Granddad 114 is you do get that proofy punch up front, where this doesn't give it to you. And to your point, if you're looking to get fucked up on something, this is a lot easier to do than that Old Granddad 114. Now, we'll say with OGD 114, as soon as you add a little bit of water to it, it opens up to something better. And if you haven't tried it like that, like a drop or two of water in a 1.5 or 2 ounce dram, is going to make you appreciate it more. I said this earlier, like, my favorite mix is roughly a 70-30, 70% this and a 30% Old Granddad 114. I think it tastes like whiskey butter.
Yeah, I have to disagree with you there. I did that earlier, and I texted you politely and said I do not mean to offend.
That's okay. You're not going to offend.
I'll take the go fuck yourself. I will take the Evan Williams Bottle and Bond all day over that mixture. But it was, if you poured that for me, I wouldn't say no.
So for those of you that ever come to the Armadillo, that is the decanter whiskey right now. So
nice. No, you need to send me some of that OF 1915. That was.
I sent you that. Is it not in there?
It probably is.
I swear to God, I put it in there.
Okay, well then shit. My day just got better. No. I think you sent me the old man's pappy.
I did send you the poor man's pappy. That's right.
Okay. You ready to get into the meat of our meal here with the 4th Dram?
Man, I feel like we've been like beating around the bush. I've eaten my carrots. I ate my potatoes. Can I get into the prime rib yet?
We've talked about this green bean casserole.
Oh, dude.
Should eat it
I
all
don't know if I
year
told you this. We did green bean casserole for Christmas.
Delicious.
And it was delicious. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's a staple in my household.
And it was with the right French beans or whatever the fuck they are.
Right? It's a difference. Oh, and then the secret, they do a tablespoon of soy sauce.
Yeah, fuck soy sauce. I like it. After we talked about that, I talked to my wife and I was like, yeah, Kurt said, do it this way. And she goes, those are the green beans we all eat all the time. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Then no big deal.
Yeah, come on. We're not running an elementary cafeteria here. All right.
But I think I grew up on the canned ones. So, I do know the difference. All right. Yeah, let's get into it. Stop talking about elementary cafeterias. Although, pizza day on Fridays, square pizzas, hell yeah.
Absolutely. 4th Dram. There is so much to break down. So excited about this Super Bowl. I am a uniform sucker for one. That definitely gets the nod in this Super Bowl. We've got old versus new. We've got everything. But before we get into that, we've got to talk about the games that set up for it, the AFC Championship and the NFC Championship, which we already talked about. Should have gone for it on fourth down. AFC Championship, your quotation Cinderella team that made the playoffs last year and was an overtime away from going to the second round. Good first quarter, good second quarter. Got funny there at the end. But at the end of the game, it was Mahomes magic. What were your thoughts on that game? Do you feel like Buffalo was in the same league as Kansas City? You know, what were your overall thoughts on that one?
I did feel like they were in the same league. I just feel like they were on different days, right?
Yeah,
Kansas
absolutely.
Kansas City, some days they show up, some days they don't. Sometimes they're more competitive. They showed up from day one, or from snap one. My thoughts.
They were down 9-0.
I know, but that's the thing is they were in it, but they were in it down.
Granted,
they were down.
Given that touchdown.
Thank you. Yes, exactly. I was gonna say then they're 9-0 due to a freaking muffed punt, but they weren't playing like they were out of the game ever. I still felt that Kansas City was going to win it. I will say this though. I've seen a transition between the NFC and the AFC, and we can all acknowledge AFC is the younger conference right now from like the division leaders, right?
Well, yeah, because Tom Brady switched divisions and all the teams' average age went down by about 15 years.
Fair enough, but I mean, when you talk about like quarterbacks and key players, the AFC is not only younger, they are better, and they're going to be more fun to watch. It's going to be tougher to play in the AFC than it is the NFC for at least the next 10 years.
Couldn't tell you, don't know where Deshaun's going. But anyway, as you said, yeah, different day, man. Like, you know, the Chiefs did exactly what I thought they would do. If you go back, I said they're going to find a way to beat the Browns. They do. I did not know that Mahomes was going to be injured, and it was going to take a Chad Henne thing as possible to throw on fourth down due to the biggest ball sack in the country, Andy Reid's call. But there you go. They found a way to win. I thought the same thing was going to be this against the Bills. They were going to find a way to win, but there was, you know, you take away the onside kick and everything. It was a blowout there towards the end, and the Chiefs were just hitting their strides. If you take the muff punt away, it's an even bigger blowout. If that team shows up against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, it's not going to be much of a game. But let's talk about the NFC Championship before we get into all that. But yes, the Chiefs were hitting their stride. Mahomes was doing his thing. And then I've got to talk about this. They had a question, you know, my holy grail of sports talk on First Take the next day. And it was like, is anybody else in the same league, can anybody rival Mahomes? And they were saying, you know, I think they did the whole, I'm going to say this, you say that. I think Kellerman was like, no, Mahomes is his own dude. And then Stephen A. Smith did, let's not forget the weapons. You can put Rodgers there and Deshaun Watson there too soon. And they do the same things. But I don't know if that's true, man. You know, there are things that Mahomes does. I can think of two in that game where and they were back to back. The dude is being tackled and getting taken to the ground, and he still throws a pass that I couldn't throw on my best day. All right? And I think Deshaun Watson could do that. I know he can. And I think Aaron Rodgers, maybe not so much now, but definitely in his heyday, he was, you know, more mobile. But I don't know. Is it the Homer thing with the Texas Tech, you know, I mean, he does these things like it's like Ben Roethlisberger, Aaron Rodgers, and, you know, maybe Brett Favre, definitely, but all balled into this one curly-headed package.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's got the speed, he's got the evasiveness, he's got the foresight, but ultimately, it's instinct. He's got instinct.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think speed is his strong. I don't think it's speed.
If you get him in the open field, he's one of the fastest. He's not Deshaun Watson or Deshaun Jackson. He's not Lamar Jackson fast. Well, no, he's not Deshaun Watson fast either.
Nobody's Lamar Jackson. I don't. He does have. See, no, I don't even think it's his speed. I think he knows when to run. I think he has the ability to run in open space.
Let's break it down. He's not necessarily flatline outspeed, but he's quick.
Yeah, he's quick enough.
Yes.
But yeah,
evasive is that word.
Like he does these things that Roethlisberger would do. When you'd have the 4 guys taking him down, he's going to get the ball out. So I think the Chiefs are still going to be awesome if they have Rodgers, if they have Watson. But Mahomes just has this thing to him, and then they talked about the Brett Favre thing without the interceptions. So I don't know. I just thought that was a good conversation to bring up and ask your opinion of, as the Dallas Stars just hit a goal in overtime to beat the Detroit Red Wings. So,
and as the Jazz are beating the Knicks by 10 with 7 minutes left.
Thank you for that. As the Texas team gets the victory in this hockey game that I've had on. So, yeah, they showed up. Allen's getting better. It's funny because Allen's like, his 3rd year? And see, they're talking about Allen like, he's going to grow up. He's going to get better. He's going to continue to evolve. Mahomes won a Super Bowl in his 3rd year. Like that's how ahead of the curve he's been. Anyway, but no, it was the Tyreek Hill that run was phenomenal. Travis Kelce did Travis Kelce things. They're a hell of a team.
I mean, let's be honest. If 3 of their 4 or 3 of their 5 serious offensive weapons show up, they would probably win the Super Bowl. But we'll get into that.
And they had Kareem Hunt. They used to have Kareem Hunt. That dude was a bad dude, and he still is with Cleveland. But I think he's, taking a couple notches down. But before that incident he had, he was a stud.
Yeah, but you have Edwards-Helaire. You reloaded without even knowing it. He's amazing.
He did okay this year.
You got Le'Veon Bell to back him up and teach him a few things.
Didn't even play in the game.
No, didn't have to. He's going to get the ring.
Neither of them were Kareem Hunt when Kareem Hunt was at his peak.
Yeah, but no, it's so hard for running backs to have 3 to 4 peak seasons in a row. Bills Mafia, shout out to the fans, showing up at 3 a.m. in Buffalo, 14-degree weather, and they're still there when the plane landed. That's dedication. You never see Cowboys fans doing that shit.
So what?
NFC Championship. I mean, so what?
They've had 25 years to stay warm inside watching the playoffs. Who cares? No, I guess that's cool. God dang, I must have drank Dick's Kool-Aid this morning. I've got the fun sucker hidden all over me. No, okay, moving on. NFC Championship.
So we kind of talked about it a little bit. Was it pass interference?
Absolutely.
Yeah, agreed. He grabbed the shirt. It's right there. It's like a tearaway jersey.
Yes, we got group text that was like, man, that was good acting. And I said, on what, the T-shirt? There's nothing to hide there. Now,
the flail at the end, okay, but it was still pass interference.
It absolutely was pass interference. It wasn't even the flail that was the controversial part. It was the fact that the flag took enough time for somebody to eat a sandwich. That made it controversial, but... it was so late that I'm thinking one ref was like, oh gosh, you have to throw that, and had time to think about it and was like, well shit, I'm going to throw it then because it was that bad.
I feel like they looked at each other like the Spider-Man meme.
It absolutely was a flag. But you had to throw that, or if not, you were going to have another situation where, next year...
Seattle.
St. Louis. Los Angeles. Where you're like, oh man, if we hadn't gotten rid of the can you question pass interference call, which I'm glad they got rid of, just don't take 5 minutes on the flag next time and everything's fine. It absolutely was a flag. The T-shirt was stretched, that was holding, that was pass interference. It was whatever it needed to be called. And if anybody was saying, not to call people out, which I had another text, that you don't call that at that point of the game. You absolutely call that at that point of the game.
Call it all throughout the game. 100%.
Yeah.
We're on the same page. I think you have to ask yourself the question, does it really matter either way?
It does matter because then the Packers are getting the ball back. It was 3rd down.
Allegedly. You're assuming they don't go for it on 4th and just seal the game out.
They wouldn't go for it on 4th on that side of the field. But like we said, they shouldn't have been in that position because the Packers should have not have kicked the field goal. Aaron Rodgers should have ran in for, anyway.
All right, we got a little bit of controversy. Not as a controversy, but people just bitching on Twitter about Brady and this year he won it. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, I was a naysayer for a long time, but it's like, in 2011 he threw 3 picks and his defense carried him. This team didn't show up. I'm like, shut up. He's going for 7 Super Bowls. This is a record 10. Shut up. Just enjoy the ride.
What are you complaining about, Dick? Because of the 3 picks in the second half?
Well, no, yes, but it's. I'm not saying it was legitimate complaining, but it's essentially listing out every year that he won a Super Bowl and giving an excuse that the defense carried him in poor performances.
There's nothing to say anymore. We've had this talk. The memes were hilarious. The dude's been in more Super Bowls by himself now than franchises like the Steelers or maybe the Cowboys, or maybe the Steelers was the one franchise that he hadn't been in more Super Bowls. Or no. That was the Patriots. Because they were in one more Super Bowl without Tom Brady. The 2 things that I'll say. He literally, the best meme out there was like, this dude said, yeah, I'll go here and take y'all to the Super Bowl. And he did. And then the second one was, that changed the game right before the half. And Bruce Arians himself said that absolutely was all Tom Brady. It wasn't Belichick doing his... It was Bruce Arians saying, that was Tom. He said, let's go for it on 4th. He saw the matchup, and then he took the throw to get the touchdown before halftime, which obviously turned out to be the difference maker. So, no, that's just the GOAT. That's the GOAT doing GOAT things.
And there's been multiple comments by Arians in interviews being like, sometimes just sit back and let him coach. I'm like, that must be the greatest job ever.
I think it's also the perfect... What's that stupid word? Y'all must use it in the business world. Synergy? Bruce Arians, you got Bruce Arians, the laid back, with the hats and I don't know, does he still wear the kazoo looking hats like he did in Arizona? You know what I'm talking about? The Irish looking... Anyway. He's laid back. You have a guy who had to kind of hold back because he had Bill Belichick when he's obviously can absolutely take the lead and run things. I think they go perfect together. I know there was the up and downs at the beginning of the year, which obviously it was a new team, things were going to happen, but I think the ship's rolling at the right time because, like I said at the beginning of the year, if he got them to the Super Bowl, the Belichick-Brady conversation could cease to exist. And Belichick is still the greatest NFL coach of all time, but Brady doesn't have any more what-ifs now that he's done this. He is the greatest quarterback of all time. Done.
I'm not going to disagree with you there.
And Gronk is basically getting a free ride to the Super Bowl.
He had 1 catch or some shit. I saw the video of him coming off the plane, and Brady posted on, I think, Twitter, and I can't remember what song it was, but he was like, yeah, and then Gronk's back like,
go nowhere.
There you go.
That's a remake. They did that when they were in New England.
But I know, but he's like, I'm like, Gronk, shut up. You were just hosting some bullshit shit on NBC last week. So,
hey, if the Buccaneers offered me a contract, I would take it too.
I'm not saying I wouldn't. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about the Super Bowl. We got the headlines here just on this to square it up. This is, like we said, Kobe's... this is January 26th as we're recording. The over-under at the time is 56.5, and the spread is 3.5 to the Chiefs. What are you doing, man? You got any takes on this? Are you picking one? You gonna take one of these lines?
I always take the Gatorade bet. That's my funnest. That's the one I love the most. Is what color is the Gatorade pour going to be? And I should have put a big amount of money on it last year because I said it was going to be orange, and it was. This is a uniform fan's dream, though. I mean, these are 2 uniforms. I'm thinking of the last, 10 or so games. These are the best sets of uniforms in a while. We've had the traditional Patriots several times. We had the Patriots Seahawks. That was a nice looking one. People love the 49er uniforms. I understand that. I'm not a big fan. I don't know. Do you get anything I'm saying here?
I mean, yeah. I'm not the uniform junkie you are, dude. Like I'm wearing a Bourbon Bowl Bobby Boucher jersey as we are recording this.
That makes you an awesome uniform guy.
I mean, I do have appreciation for the ones, but like I don't.
That is top 5 fictional characters uniforms of all time, right under Jackie Moon, semi-pro. I mean,
no, I was thinking more.
Shane Falco, the replacements. I mean, you're
dude,
up
which
there.
I have that shirt now, dude. That replacements jersey was sick, the red one. I'm gonna have to get that.
Seahawks Broncos. That was a great uniform game. Anyway,
can we get back to the fucking question?
I am after I say this. The Bronco. I mean the.
You're gonna pick it off the fucking jerseys. Yeah. Who are you getting?
Can I get I've got to say this. The Buccaneers going back to their early 2000s uniform.
Yeah, the red ones.
The one they had a couple of. That was the best. That was the best offseason move they made all year. Fuck the Tom Brady thing. That was the best offseason move they made all year. Those things are sweet. You've got the Chiefs, traditional. Anyway, I've got to stop. But I
saw some amazing Bucks alternates. Like I do like the fact they went to the bronze color, like as the secondary. But they need to bring that loud ass Derek. I can just see Derek Brooks 55 wearing that fucking red color. It was such a badass fucking jersey.
If it is those jerseys against the white Chiefs jerseys,
that'd be badass.
That would be awesome.
And you flip them, do white pants and white jersey, yeah.
Creamsicle jerseys for the Bucks.
I'm not mad at it.
May not be the only thing creaming of the night. You know what I mean? Anyway,
hey.
To actual football. Thoughts? I'll let you. What's your big headline of the game?
So the Bucks are the first team to play a Super Bowl in their home stadium. I think that's super fucking cool. I'm gonna take the Chiefs to win it. I'm gonna do over on the spread. I'm gonna do under on the over/under.
Okay, I like it. I'm going to say under on this.
It's hard to see them scoring that many points on each other because these defenses have played well. I think of number 45 for the Bucks. He's had like 2 fumble recoveries and a pick in like the last. I think it's White is his last name.
The dude from LSU, right?
Is that that's who that is? Oh yeah. So the Honey Badger 2.0 at the linebacker position, and the Chiefs defense.
Devin White, yeah.
The Chiefs defense, like, dude, watching the Packers, there was nowhere to throw the fucking ball half the time. Like, they were, like, stuck on them like white on rice. Like, it was...
You mean the Bills?
No, the Chiefs defense was stuck on the Bills, yes.
You're right, yeah. You said Packers.
Oh, my bad. But, yeah. I mean, it was red on rice.
Okay, so you're going to have better wide receivers in this game, I think, than the Packers, because... You have Evans. You have a possible Antonio Brown. You have, obviously the guy who everyone forgot.
You have enough names
right before. Okay, thank you.
Godwin. Yeah.
I think it's just what Chiefs team is going to show up.
If the Chiefs team that showed up against the Bills shows up against the Packers, if the Chiefs team that showed up against the Bills shows up against the Bucks, it's going to be hard not to take the Chiefs.
If the Chiefs teams that showed up in last year's Super Bowl to start the game, or actually for the first 3 quarters shows up, they're going to lose because the Bucks obviously have offense better than what the 49ers had last year. Granted, the 49ers defense was very, very good. But I hope it's a shootout. I hope it's the over. I'll go with the over for that. I think the Chiefs play this kind of Chief football where there's nothing to stop them. I think Ben-Ami or Reed, whoever the hell it is, Mahomes, whoever's coming up with the plays at the right time when they need it, which is why I hope Ben-Ami eventually is the Texans coach. I'm not even going to get into that.
Are all of their plays backyard football in one?
Like the little shovel pass right before the goal line to Kelsey that they've done like 10 times. I don't think they can do anymore. I don't think they can do that anymore. They just call the plays at the right time when they need to, and that's why they win these games. So I think that's going to be a little bit too much for the Buccaneers. But God, I hope it's a 45-50 game, 38-34 game. I hope it's a good one. Yeah, I'll go with the Chiefs, even though we're still 2 weeks away. Maybe we'll do an episode next week and I'll reevaluate some things. But I'll go Chiefs for now.
All right. Any bets you want to lay on this thing?
Sure. I bet you a glass of Old Tub that I am going to get drunk.
I bet you more than that you're going to get drunk. All right, I do want to...
You didn't say what you were saying, if I was going to get drunk or not get drunk.
I'm going to bet you that you're going to get drunk, so I'm not going to take that bet.
I won't get drunk for a bottle of Old... No, I wouldn't.
A bottle of Old Tub.
Still get
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah,
okay. All right. I think we beat that thing up, man. I've got one other question for you I didn't put on here, our notes. Stafford. He's got three possible... I'm going to say possible. He's got three leading trades because they have approved his trade. Colts, Patriots, Steelers. Where does he go and why?
He's not going to wait around for Ben Roethlisberger to make his decision in Pittsburgh. So then Indy's ahead of the rebuild curve. I mean, they were a pretty damn good team this last year as compared to the Patriots, who are still going to have to figure out who they are, what they're going to do. I'll go Indianapolis on that one.
Okay. I'm going to say Patriots.
Of course you would.
I think that he's going to find it hard to pass up playing for Belichick.
So what? When you look what they did this year.
I mean, considering they have massive COVID impacts and Cam Newton played very questionably, they weren't bad. I mean, they're in a
7-9.
It's not. I mean,
as compared to the team that's going to compete to win the AFC South next year. So do you want to go compete against the Titans, or do you want to go play the Bills
and the Dolphins?
Up and coming Dolphins.
With the Dolphins with a Deshaun Watson.
Mm-hmm. I think I'll go kick Trevor Lawrence's ass twice, and then I'll beat the shit out of the Houston. We don't know who we are right now.
And then split the games with the Titans.
Yep, exactly.
You might have convinced me. All right, man. Let's go ahead and talk about the overall ratings. What you got here?
B+. B+ on the nose. B+ on the taste. Solid. This is our tailgate bottle. This is the bottle that we like to surprise, that you introduced me to, and it's like one of those like, dude, don't waste your money. Go grab this. Put in some Coke, like you said. Put in whatever you want. I was actually at a Specs a couple weeks ago, and I guess a guy was going to a big Christmas party maybe at the time, and the Specs guy handed this to him, and of course the reaction was, Evan Williams, I need some more something to leave an impression. And me and the guy looked at each other at the same time. We did a whiskey look, and he goes, trust me, take it. And he did, and it's just one of those things. This is a good damn bottle. I would take it. I could take it to a tailgate. I could take it to a backyard wedding. It's good stuff.
I think if you put it in a fancy decanter, or even a Blanton's bottle, you might be able to get away with it too. Yeah, why not? I'm right there with you, man. I mean, you hit all the points. I scored a little bit different, but ultimately came out to B+. For me, this sits right next to a Old Granddad 114, different flavor palette. It does very similar to, it does better in a Noah's Mill, and does just same as a Henry McKenna. We're looking at my recent ones, and you can't be mad at it, man. Can't be mad. So, All right, dude. Let's go ahead and get us across that goal line.
Absolutely. We're over that goal line. We talked whiskey news. We talked a little bit of AFC, NFC championship games. We talked the big Super Bowl predictions. We had a good time. We poured our glasses. We gave you our overall thoughts on this Evan Williams bottled and bond with 2 B+, solid grades. Dick, hit him with the socials.
Yeah, man. So, Drammers, don't forget to once again hit us on the website, 4th Dram and Goal. Got the Insta and Twitter. That's 4th Dram, so 4th Dram. You can also follow us on Facebook at 4thdramandgoal.com, and then old-fashioned, old-school email, 4th Dram and Goal. That's 4th Dram and Goal at gmail.com. A couple things here. Like, we want to grow the show. We keep saying that. We're getting a good amount of listeners, every download. I think we're like around 15 per episode right now. We really want to kind of get more listeners, get more feedback. Tell your friends about us. If you hate us, you find like we're funny once in a while. If you love us, more the merrier. We want to get some more listeners on here. And don't forget that we're on Apple Podcasts, Audible, CastBox, Podcast Addict. You can rank and review us there. We are going to be doing some different things here coming up, where we're going to be some like small blinds and talking obviously some kind of post Super Bowl talk. What are we going to get into as far as early April? Baseball is coming back at you. But without further ado, I'll go ahead and hand it back over to Kurt for our quote of the episode.
One more plug before my quote. We have recently opened up to some close personal friends who are now listening to the show. We just want to say we appreciate you. We love you. Interact with us just like any other listener would. Chime in, let us know what you think. Give us your questions. The only difference is we can insult you a little bit more back, all right? But we love you guys. We thank you. And, of course, we had to do, as we said, the anniversary of the Kobe Bryant, the Mamba's death. If you're afraid to fail, then you're probably going to fail. Classic Kobe. He told you like it was. Thank you guys for joining us. To the next snap and the next dram.
Drink on, Drammers.